Hi! Today I'm very excited because we start a new season which is going to deal with theology, comparative theology between the Quran and the Bible. And that's what I like. That's where I'm at home. So today we're going to start. This is the first episode. And my topic will be the name of Allah. I think that's the most important, of course, because everything starts with Allah, Bismillah, with the name of Allah. But that's where some Christians have a problem. Some Christians say that the God of Islam is not the same God like the God of the Bible. Allah is a pagan God, Allah and God are not the same, and so on. Obviously, some Muslims have the same problem because for many years it was forbidden in several parts of Malaysia to use the word Allah if you were not a Muslim. Forbidden for Christians and others to use this word, to write it in their books, in the Bible, to use it in the church services. So what? First, we're going to start with the etymology of the word. Where does this word come from, Allah? In the Bible, in the Hebrew, the word for God is El or Elohim. And you can listen to that and hear a similar sound. El, Elohim, Allah. In the Aramaic text, we have Elo, which is even more similar to Allah than El. The word El is used in English as well for some names like Daniel, God is my judge, Nathanael, God has given, Emmanuel, God with us, Michael, who is like God, or the one who is like God, and so on. In the Aramaic text of the Bible, we have Allah, and I like to quote some of them, some beautiful texts like in Daniel chapter 2, verse 23, where Daniel says, O God of my father, I thank you and praise you, like Allah Abahati, Allah. In the same chapter, in verse 47, this time this is King Nebuchadnezzar who speaks. And that's interesting because King Nebuchadnezzar is not a Jew. He's a pagan, but he used the word Allah by saying in verse 47, truly you, God, is a God above all gods and a Lord above all kings. El-Hakum, hu el-Elohim umar malkin. By the way, that's interesting because in the Quran, in Surah 59, it said that God is, there are many names of God in the Surah. We're going to study that later on. But Allah, hu Allah. And here this is the same expression we have, hu Allah. And also what is interesting is that God here is God above all kings, something that is very common in Islam, Allahu Akbar, or in the Fatiha, Malik Yawmiddin. In another Aramaic text, in Ezra chapter 5, it is said that the prophets used to prophesy in the name of the God of Israel. Wait Nabi Bashum Allah Israel. So they prophesied Bashum Allah, in the name of God, something we know very well in Islam, the Bismillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God. In the same book, Ezra, this time in chapter 7, we have the house of your God, Bed el-Hak, the God of Jerusalem, Ela Yerushalem, the God of heaven, Ela Shamaya. All the time, Allah. Allah, very similar to Allah. We have another text in the Old Testament where Melchizedek, king of Salem, who is not related, not parented, not a child of Abraham, but somebody else, worshipped the same God as Abraham by calling him El Elyon, the God, the Most High. Something like Allahu Akbar if you want. In the New Testament, beside the Aramaic manuscripts, like the Peshitta, we have in the Greek text Jesus saying on the cross, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? That's in Matthew 27. In Mark 15, we have Elohi, Elohi. But that's exactly the same because Elohi is my Elo, and Eli is the way Greek people shorten O-I, E-I-A-I in Greek. You have the example of Aegyptos, which becomes Egypt. So Eli is a contraction of Elohim. Especially when you have a long E, it happens that it becomes O-E-E, Elohim Eli. So, my Elo. The shift of pronunciation between Elo, Allah, and El is something common we know between different languages who are related, like Gott in German and God in English and good in Swedish. Or even in the same language, like in English, some people would say yes, some people say yeah, some people say ye, like in Australia, some people say yos, so the same word, but different pronunciations. Something very interesting is that Allah is not a typical Arabic pronunciation. In Arabic, there's no other word using al like this. Normally it's al, for example, al something, but al is not Arabic. It's Aramaic, yes, but not Arabic. So it suggests that the word Allah comes from another language. It's a borrowed word, that when we use foreign words in a language, we sometimes adapt the pronunciation or just keep it as it is. For example, in English we would say pizza, which is Italian. It's not a typical English word and not a typical English pronunciation. To conclude with, Allah, Elo, El, Allah are the same word. However, some people say, and I tend to believe that this is true, Allah is not really the same like Elo. Why? Because grammatically speaking, Allah is Allahu, which means that it's composed of the definite article al, the, and lahu, which is God. So in this case, Allah would mean the God. Everybody who had 2 or 3 lessons in Arabic knows that we say Allahu or Allahi, Allaha, depending on the position of the word. Bismillahi, Allahu Akbar, and so on. And that suggests that al is the definite article. Another remark to conclude with is that in English, like in Arabic, God, capitalized, cannot have a plural, cannot have a feminine. So in both languages, Allah and God have identical grammatical constraints. What is definitively true is that Allah, Elo, El, and La are parented. Still some people say yes, but before Islam, Allah was used for a pagan god. So we should not use it. If that's the case, we have to talk about it, and that's what we're going to do next time. Thank you again for being with us. Thank you for your comments, for your questions. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not done it, and to recommend this series. And next time we'll talk about the question, is Allah a pagan god? Was it a pagan god before Islam came? Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.